Hi YouTube, JT here. I just went out a few weekends ago and bought a new 2025 Nissan Frontier SV, and the vehicle I bought did not have mud flaps on them, and I wanted to have the mud flaps, so I went out and bought the Nissan mud flaps and put them on. This is not a very difficult project, but there are a couple tricks I thought I'd show you, and we'll go through that right now. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to need to get, at least for the SV model, two different sets of mud flaps. So the fronts have one part number, and this is the fronts right here. And then the rear has another part number, which that is right here. As far as tools, you're going to need just a couple of different tools. First thing you're going to need is a 10mm socket wrench, a small one if you have it. Then a shorty Phillips screwdriver. You're going to need that specifically for the rear flaps. And then you're going to want a couple of different styles of trim tools for interior trims to help remove the push pins. Okay, the front mud flaps has a push pin along with screws, so you're going to want to have tools such as this. You could probably use a regular screwdriver, but these work better in my opinion. So what you're going to want to do, each set has a set of hardware in it. The hardware is different depending on the fronts or the back. The front hardware is just going to be a set of screws and push pin. Now this is the old push pin. The newer one is longer, so you can't use the original one that comes out. The rear has screws and then these little inserts that go into some square holes in the fender. So we'll walk over to the vehicle and I'll show you what needs to be done. Okay, so on the front, there are two screws you're going to need to remove. Here's one of them. Here's the other. And they have factory screws there. Now, there was something a little unusual when I pulled out the factory screws and compared them to the ones that came in the kit. On the front side, they were the same length. But on the passenger side, the screws that were in there originally were a little shorter. So you need the longer screws. So after you take those two screws out, then you're also going to have to take out this push pin back here. It's kind of behind the tire. And it will help if you can turn the front wheels all the way to the side. It'll get you a little better access. So once you pull that push pin out and the two screws, you can put the mud flap on and then put the two longer screws in and then put in the longer push pin. So the fronts were probably the easiest. Now for the rear, it's a little bit of a bigger issue. First thing you're going to need to do is, you can kind of see it way down in there. There is the screw. And you need to remove that screw. It's a 10mm socket from the bottom of the vehicle. Okay. And then prior to putting the mud flaps on, you need to use those two square plastic inserts and insert them into the plastic holes that are into the holes that are in the fender. Press them in, and then you can put the screws in and then reinsert the screw on the bottom there on the fender. Now on the backs, it is very tight. So here's my shorty screwdriver, and you can see there's barely enough clearance here to get it in there, especially when the screw is just starting. So if you don't have a shorty screwdriver, you're probably going to have to remove the tire. But once you do, it shouldn't be that hard to get out then. So that's basically it. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks.